Okaeri! Welcome back to my channel, Made Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about how I tab my books. So you'll see in many of my videos on my channel that I tab my physical books, especially if it's a book that I love. And I've gotten a lot of questions as to how I tab my books, what's my process, do I write in them, things like that. So I thought I could just quickly go over what I do when I'm tabbing my books. So the tabs that I use are these Post-its here, specifically with this color scheme. And you'll find out I'm pretty anal when it comes to simple stuff like that, whereas some people might not mind changing the tabs that they use or the colors a lot, but I really like to stick to this color scheme that I've chosen. And I've chosen these ones because they are clear, and here on the inside there is no color. So I don't like when my tab covers the words in my book, so I like for them to be clear. And I just think that this color scheme is really cute. These are a little expensive, so I know that there are much cheaper ones you can get on Amazon and buy them in bulk, and please feel free to do that. You don't have to be as weird about it as I am. But these are the ones that I use. Now, for my style in using these is I have assigned a meaning to each color. So green is like or happiness. Yellow is funny. And I usually reserve this for when I laugh out loud, when something really makes me laugh. Orange is for anger. Pink is for surprise or steamy scenes, if I'm reading a book of that nature. Purple is for world building and quotes that I like. And then blue is for sad or disappointing. So typically I will put these in the front of my book with the meanings written on them. Actually, I think I might have an example of that. Give me one sec. Yes, I do actually. So this massive tome is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. And you'll actually see these, I like tabbing. But you'll see in the beginning here, I actually had another type of tab that I hated, but I used them to get rid of them, and I think I might actually go back and put the other type in because I'm insane. But on the inside cover of this, I think that I put my key. Yes, I did. So, gosh, this is so unmaneuverable. Is that a word? That's not a word. So here's the key that I wrote for myself here. So I tend to do that in my books. I might forget here and there, but I try to do that because the green tabs tend to run out the quickest because, of course, I read books that I like. So let me put this down. That's too heavy to be swinging that around. But because I typically read books that I like, I use a lot of green tabs. And if I'm reading a Brandon Sanderson book or a high fantasy, typically I'll use a lot of purple tabs. So when those tabs run out, I can't necessarily go buy a brand new pack of these every time. Like I said, they're a little expensive. So I will shift that meaning to another color if I run out. So in the inside covers of my books, I will write whatever meaning that color has in that book. But if I have a fresh tab collection, what is this called? But if I have a fresh set of tabs, then those are the meanings that I apply to them. I've also gotten questions about, do I write in my books? Do I annotate? Do I underline? And that is a no. I heard a beer.
Sneaky. Cheers. Can you show the brand?
Sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll show this part.
That's fine. You don't have a sponsor. Yeah.
That's true. I'm way too small for that shit. This is how you know he's a keeper. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
Just put that back up there. This is real YouTube editing right here. Or YouTube filming. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So people have asked me, do I write in my books, do I annotate them, or mark them up in any way? And that is a no. If you can't tell by how insane I am about the tabs themselves, I really like to keep my books in really good condition. I don't enjoy when my books are roughed up, especially if they're like nicer hardback versions of my favorite fantasy. But when I was in university and I was doing a lot of schoolwork with my books, I did annotate and write and really rough those up. And they're mostly paperbacks, I think, that I treat that way. But I still really love that. So my university collection of classics that I've read, especially from Victorian times, is so well loved, and I just love handling those books because they bring back memories. I can look back on thoughts that I've had. So it's not that I look down on that style of taking care of books or that style of owning books. I just, when I have something pretty like this, I like to keep it pretty. And some of these books are like special editions that you can't get anymore, so I just kind of like to keep them the way that they are. But I definitely do understand the pull towards and the enjoyment in marking up your books, because that makes them so yours, you know? So I guess the final question is, why do I tab my books? Why do I do this? I guess it just, kind of similar to what I said in my previous point, making the books more yours. I can look at the colors on the side of a book and see how that book made me feel, how often I laughed, how often I cried, or how often I was angry. And I really enjoy being able to do that and look at a glance. Like you can see with my Skyward, my copy of Skyward, you can see by the colors how often this book made me laugh. And also, I guess it made me kind of sad too. Look at all those blues. I don't usually feel that sad during books. And there's a lot of yellows and greens, and that just shows how much I enjoyed and laughed while I was reading this book. So being able to look back on a book like that, I think is really, really nice. Also, when I reread this book, I'm going to be able to go in and see how I felt and see, you know, does this line still make me angry? And I think that's a really cool way to track your progress through rereads and how you change as a reader. So for that reason, I really love tabbing. Also, it just makes it feel more personal. Like when I look at a book that I've tabbed, I'm like, oh yeah, I read all of those pages. That was me, and I can go back to my experience of having read this book. It doesn't look pristine and new because it's not, because I own it, right? So I think that this is more of a subtle way to be able to do that, because when it's sitting on my shelf, it looks very nice and very clean, but if you look at the back, you can see that I've interacted with it. So there are many reasons why I love tabbing, but those are the main ones, I think. That concludes my short video on how I tab my books and what my process is. Please let me know down below if you tab your books. Do you annotate? Do you doggy ear? God forbid. What do you do with the books that you own? I'm really interested to see what your style of reading is. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Done!